So one fear that most people have, if not all people have, is the fear of not being good enough. And not being good enough, not being successful enough, not being seen enough, not being loved enough, not being liked enough. There's a reality where we struggle with this. And this is the reason why success can be so terrifying. What this mountain of success for a lot of us becomes this fear place, and no one really identifies this. Like, we never look at the bigger perspective, why it's so scary that we, one, want to be successful, but two, are afraid of what success costs and what it takes. We become literally scared to do the things that are necessary for us because we want to be liked, because we want to be loved. And there's a reason why a lot of us don't progress, or the reason a lot of us don't change, or we don't move, is because we limit ourselves to the capability that we're capable of. We limit it to the possibility of what people may say about us. We think that if we do the thing, if we do the thing that's scary, that's cringy, that's out of the character for us, that's going to change or justify or make different the way people see us. I need you to understand that it is scary to be successful, but it's more scary to stay where you are right now. So as we dive into this episode about this reality that success is terrifying, and we never speak about it. Like, we don't talk about this mountain of success, this fear of going into this next thing, the unknown, because for a lot of times it's tied to so many other things of what's happened in our lives. We tie our success to the people in our lives. We tie our success to the people that have been in it, that have been out of it. We even tie our failures to that. We say, well, I am not capable of doing this because of these people, because of the way my parents treated me, because of what they said about me, because of how I was bullied, because of whatever. We tie all of these things to these things. And I need you to understand this in this moment, right? That you will never move away from your life. Like, your life is your life. What's happened to you has happened to you. Your past is your past. And we don't discredit it. We don't devalue it. We don't say that it doesn't have worth or significance, because it's a part of your life. It's a part of your story. It's a part of the history of what's made you today. But we need to stop giving power to that past, because what happens for a lot of people, all of us, I mean, I feel like this is such a common thing that happens often, that we fall into this rut of staying in what's been said or done to us, because we think that's all we are. We will remain in places where we have made home. And this is, again, we see this all when we talk about wounds and all these things, but it's so prevalent when it comes to this mountain of success, a terrifying reality that comes with being successful, the things that people never address and look at. Because there's this theory in sociology called the broken windows theory, and I'm sure many people have heard of it, but just to kind of give a little bit of a different light in this, broken windows theory, if you haven't, is the belief that you are a byproduct of your environment, right? So that old saying, nurture versus nature, that you become what you've been grown into. And I have a problem with that, and I get it as a theory, but I feel like a lot of people subscribe to this theory. They believe that this is really what it is, because we tend to look at our environment and say that we are a byproduct of the environment. We say that thing is what shaped us, and we will never be anything else because of how our family was, because of our poverty levels, because of all these things. First of all, I want to give significant understanding to that, because, again, I'm no one special. I know nothing more than most people. I read more, maybe I hear more, so I'm not speaking from a place of perfection or a place of absolute knowledge, but definitely from a perspective that maybe others might not look at. But I have an issue with that, because it limits you before you've been limited. Now, again, there's different things. I know, growing up in a Hispanic home, that our cultures are very different, and how we were raised. And there were certain things that I had to learn and myself, and had to grow and adapt and assimilate accordingly, because, again, they were Dominican. We only spoke Spanish at home. Yo no me hablaba español en la casa. And my household was just that, because that's what my grandparents spoke. That's what my mother spoke. So there were words that I had to learn and adapt, and things that I had to enculturate myself in that most people probably wouldn't have had. Now, for a lot of people, we look at that and we look at the factors that, yo, this is hard. Like, there are things that I have to change and adapt and grow, and this becomes a thing. And what happens is that becomes a barrier. That becomes a limiting factor as to what you're going to grow. So when we talk about broken windows theory, people this is actually from the easier side of this, right? Because we can look at finances, we can look at history, we can look at social norms and social structures, and all these things that are a huge component of how successful people are. But the biggest component of how success is measured is not necessarily what you've come from, but what you've come against. It's where you've grown out of. It's not the things that are around you, or things that have been done to you, because that is the easy route. It is easy to limit yourself by that. And this is what I love, these cases where people who have grown up in such terrible conditions and terrible places and have done amazing things, they go completely against the grain. They go against what they have been told is normalized to them. They go against these things that have limited them to being less than what they're actually made for. And it breaks my heart, because honestly, before we dive in deeper, I'd never care about numbers. I always care about the one person that needed to hear this message, that heard this message, and all these things. But these are topics that I wish we had more conversation around. Like, I think we have become limited by our just controlled demographic of people, that we think that we are only going to be this because this is all we've ever been. That's all we've ever seen. That's all we've ever known. And we make this adverse struggle that shouldn't exist. We'll say, well, I won't do this because I'm Hispanic. I won't do this because I'm black. I won't do this because I'm a minority. I won't do this because of all of these factors that, honestly, yes, I'm not saying that they're not good, that they're not important. I'm not disqualifying the strength and the value they have, but I am saying that your will and desire is stronger than your limiting factor. That you will work. Yes, you might have to work 3 times as hard, 4 times as hard, but how bad do you want it? And I'm not saying that that's how it should be, but I am saying that we are limited by the thought of the thing that we have been told. And our fear of success is attached directly to that. Is attached to what we have been conditioned to believe, to what society has said. Hey, you're not capable of this unless you have this extra help. You're not capable of this unless you do this. No, you are capable right now, where you are in this moment, in this place. The adversity you're facing, all that mountain that you're in, all of those things are gonna make up this story. They're going to make up the story as to how you succeeded and did what you needed to do despite everything else. And you are fully capable of this. That there is nothing that you're limited by. And again, back to that broken windows theory, we tend to think that our environment dictates our growth. That the glass ceiling that we've been limited by is only there based on the environment that we've grown into. It doesn't matter. I think that our mindset is what shifts everything. And I'm not saying that means that you're going to be a perfect millionaire or billionaire out of all this, but to grow and to be successful and to not be where your family has been, or to not be where you have been remitted to, that those things are how we measure success. And the reason that we're afraid of success is because we have to challenge that. The biggest thing about being successful, because again, that success is quantitative, not qualitative. We are able to unpack things. It's not how much of it you have, it's how meaningful and how purposeful that little thing is. So when we're able to look at that thing and say that this thing was a next step for me and for my generations, that's how we measure success. And again, the reason we're scared is because we've limited what our success can look by based on what our family's success has been. It has to challenge you, has to challenge your mind, how you think, your processes, how you work, how things change around you. It has to even challenge what the social norms in this world have been. We have been limited by so many things because it's, again, socially acceptable to say, well, I can't because. We look at that phrase, I can't because. You've given authority to the thing that you're doing because of something else. You've said that because of how I'll be treated, because of how I've been raised, because of how my family was, because of the alcohol addiction, because of the drug addiction, because of this thing that's been a hindrance to me. You've given authority to your success based on what has been said about you. And today, if the only thing we do in this episode, we'll dive into these common things and common thoughts and practice, but if the only thing that we do is dispel that lie, then this is the most successful episode I've ever had. Because the reality is that you are fully capable. You're not limited to that. And the terrifying thing about success is that it's going to range to something. It will cost you everything of who you are right now to be who you need to be. The very death of the old you comes with pain. There's something that has to hurt. We have never been in this new person, so that's going to hurt. This change in your life, this perspective that you're going to take, this shift that you're going to have is going to hurt. Success is going to be painful because if you're going to grow, you are no longer going to fit in the mold that you were in before. You have to break out of that thing to be next. And why it hurts is because so many things around us change. Our perspective change, our environment change, our people. We lose people when we become better. Because there are some people in your life that benefited from the worst version of you. So when you become the best version of you, they hate that version. They can no longer manipulate, control, or get what they need from that version. And they're going to hate it. And it's going to hurt you because in your mind, you think that you need to keep these people around. But I need you to understand that you don't have to keep anyone in your life that isn't actually loving you fully. And the people that love you fully will never question or doubt or make you feel like your growth is bad. They're going to walk with you. They're going to applaud you. They're going to be your biggest cheerleaders, your biggest fans. They will never make you feel that this next stage of you is a bad stage of you. they're going to actually support the dream. They're going to download the podcast. They're going to share the reel. They're going to share your business. They're going to share the things that you want. They're going to share in your failures and in your successes. They're going to love you in each stage of that. So if your fear of being successful is that you will lose people, I promise you, you will never lose a person that belongs there. You can never lose the people that desire to love you. And this is a season for a lot of us, right? As we grow and as we become better, it hurts because there are people that we hold dearly to us, that we love so much, that we want to see in every stage in our life, that we no longer have relationships and connections to. And I don't want to dismiss that, because it's not bad to feel and to lament and to love the people that were there and when they were there. But it's okay to understand that they were in a different chapter of this book. This next place you're in doesn't require them. And it's not that they don't bring value and that they're not good, because intrinsically, naturally, just by their own human nature, they are. But that means that the season that you're in doesn't require them. Our success will be driven not by what we want, but by what we're willing to sacrifice. And there's a healthy balance to this. Sometimes sacrifice looks like I can't go out tonight because I have things that I'm working towards. Sometimes sacrifice looks like I can't show up to these things because as much as I would love to, it's not going to be beneficial to the overall story. I have to work on something. And then sometimes sacrifice just looks like I need to take a day off of work to be with the people that I love, because that's also healthy. It's understanding that there is a balance between what you're giving up and what you're putting out. And it hurts because who doesn't want to be in all the things? The fear, the FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. We want to be involved, but it's going to make you miss out on who you deserve to be, for you trying to be the place you're not supposed to be in. So what are you willing to say no to? Like, what is that thing that allows you to say no now so you can say yes later to you? What will be the thing in you that dies so that full you can truly live? So you're not remitted to that person that you used to be, that the place that you're in doesn't remain the place that you remain in. If you are lonely in this season, if you are misunderstood, if no one gets you, good. This means that you're putting the work, that you're shedding off the things that don't have any actual value. We're creatures of company. We desire to be around people, to be loved by people, and that's that validation in us that we feel like needs to be stroked and actually loved and all these things. There comes a point as you grow that you need a season of solitude. And I don't mean like you become like a reclusive hermit and you don't do anything and you don't respond to people and you don't whatever, you just cut everyone off. I don't mean that. I don't mean to that extreme, because that's unhealthy too. I mean that you focus on what you need to do, so much so that you stop giving in to everything else. That you stop allowing people to control you and to dictate and change what your plans are right now. The reality is that for a lot of us, this stems from abandonment. Whether we've been the ones abandoning or been the ones that have been abandoned, we tend to want people to validate us and to love us enough that we don't have to show up for ourselves. Like, we allow their love and their energy and their persona and just who they are to make us feel good about us. It comes to a point where we have to choose, what season am I in? So the reason that, again, we're choosing these things, and success is terrifying and scary, because it's going to require for you to say, I don't care if you like me, if you don't like me. Again, at that same point, the people that love you will be there for you. But it's going to be something that's going to cause you separation. Now, a lot of people aren't aware of this, because successful people aren't vocal as they're growing, especially if you're coming from a stage of being stuck in something, being stuck in a bad relationship, being stuck in a bad career path, being stuck in a bad mental space. All these things are things that people often don't even notice. Like, they don't see the bottom work. And I see this often. I see people look at the success that people have had, and even myself included. I've seen this happen. I've heard it happen. I haven't seen it for myself, because people won't say things to my face. That's another thing you'll go through. You'll hear people say things about you, but they'll never say it to you, because it takes too much validation to actually confirm those things. So you'll hear people say, well, this person just got lucky, this person just showed up, this person just is. I'll use myself as an example, not to brag or to boast, because the only reason I'm using me as an example is because I only know me well. I know me better than I know most other people. So people don't see the hours that goes into this. Like the hours that it takes to sit here and to script and to show up, because I am everything. I'm the talent, I'm the scripting, I'm the video guy, I'm the lighting guy, I'm the sound guy. I do everything that is required for me to be successful at this. And people don't notice the hours that goes into this, the hard work that it actually takes even to make social media content. I was sharing this actually with my son, who won't ever be able to identify because he's like 8 months old. Well, he is 8 months old. And I was and on my memories on Facebook, it popped up when I first hit my first 25,000 people. And I was so successful. I was so happy with that moment, that success. And I was just like, I was again joking because it's my son, he's a baby. He's not actually gonna see him. I'm like, look, buddy, look what daddy did this. Wow, can we believe that this was a year and a half ago or something to that refrain? And it hit me in that moment, like no one's ever going to see that. Like people probably saw that and would talk about it, right? Would bash it, would say that it's nothing, that I was just lucky, that I just showed up, that I hit 1 or 2 videos, whatever. But the reality comes that they're going to talk anyway. Like a lot of us are afraid to step into things, to be successful, to grow into to act things that we love, because we're afraid of what people will say. And the fact that people will only see the successful part of it. It's going to be easy for them to judge what they see outside, but they'll never realize the work that it took you in the inside. They'll never realize the hours you put in. They'll never realize the change you had to make. They'll never realize the therapy sessions you had to go through. They'll never realize the gym hours you had to put in. They'll never realize all those things. They will only see the mountaintop, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine, because this is not for them. This is for you. What you are going to do, the things that you're going to step into, the success that is going to be scary for you to take on, it is not for them. You don't do things for people to clap for you. You do things because you know that you will clap for you. You do things because you know that it's for you. If you are doing things for other people to see you, then you are not responding out of your self-growth. You're responding out of your wounds. You want them to clap for you and cheer you on and make you feel better about you. No one is going to do that. This is the sad truth, the sad reality, that no one is going to clap for you. They might see the success and might see the mountaintop, and they'll say, wow, you were so lucky and you made it there. But I need you to be so firm in what you're doing that you don't care if they approve of it or not. You're validated by you. And it's terrifying to go through this, because we have to come to that terms. I think that the biggest tool, the biggest catalyst for a lot of people is as they grow, that this is actually the biggest part of growth. As you become better, you shed away the desire to be liked and seen. You shed away the desire to be cheered on. You shed away the desire to be admonished. It actually becomes significantly more humbling, because you saw the work, you were a part of the work, you believed in it, and you did it. And it becomes to this point where you are joyful with you and what you're doing, and not necessarily requiring them to do anything for you. Yes, it's terrifying to be successful. It's terrifying to step into this, but you are more than capable. The next point we're diving into is that success it happens in obscurity, not in the public eye. Like, what people don't know, they can't ruin. That's such a classic phrase. And it's so true, because what happens is that we tend to be so happy and so excited that we want to share what's happening in our lives. We want to share this next thing we're doing, but I need you to not share those things, because people can't ruin what they can't see. People can't hurt they will never be able to get to what you've never put out there. And envy is a terrible thing. Envy does not mean that you are better than them or that you have more money than them. People who are richer and better off and on paper more significantly better than you will be envious of you. Why? Not because you have more, but because you have something that they can't do. You have a love that they do not have. They have a wound that you are magnifying in your success. I need you to be successful, even if people will be envious of you. And even if those are people close to you. I've seen that happen with family members. I've seen people in families become envious of other people simply because they're doing a thing that they wanted to do. And it's okay. Let them be envious. Stop being afraid of doing something because you're afraid of someone else's response. They're going to respond anyway. Stop being vocal about the things that you don't need to be vocal about. Sometimes you just need to work in silence and make sure that this thing is happening before you share it anywhere else. And I get it. It's exciting. You are doing the work. You're changing. You're growing. All these beautiful things. But stop allowing your overzealousness to share about it get in the way of its success. Stop allowing the fact that you want people to see it, to be proud of it, even if it's not bragging, even if it's literally just excitement. Stop allowing those things to overshadow the reality of it, because what you're doing is giving people access to things that they don't deserve access to. What you're doing is giving people an opportunity to stop things for you. The example, people posted their flight tickets. I've seen this story happen many times, and with their flight numbers, and what other people have done as a joke to be funny, we'll call it that, they've called in or went online and canceled their flights. Why? Because they thought that this was a funny thing to do to a person. But the reality is that they have allowed themselves to be accessible in a way that people were able to cancel the things that they were so excited for. There is a mental cost of achievement. There is a cost that comes with it. There's nothing in this world that is given to you without a cost, right? Like, I'm not saying that this is something that's going to cost you your whole life. And well, actually, yes, I am saying that, because it's going to cost you the life of who you used to be. But what I'm saying is that it's not going to cost you things that are literal, like your physical life. Like, you're not going to sit here and die because you're trying to be successful. There are people that have done that, and they've done it wrong, right? Because there's no balance. That last portion of it, they haven't balanced their regular life and their family with the success, or they haven't balanced seasons. There are seasons of this where we are completely locked in and focused so that we can be the best version of ourselves to our family and our friends. But there is a cost, and I hope that one thing that we do, other than motivate for that to happen, is able to just identify what that cost looks like. As you progress and as you change, there is no such thing as perfection. I want that to be absolutely clear. There is no perfect person in this world. Only perfect person ever was Jesus, and they crucified him. So there's that. There is no perfect person in this world. You will never have everything perfectly figured out. You will never have every perfect answer. In fact, myself included, I'm really good at giving people advice. I'm terrible at taking my own, because it's easy for us to be persuaded or for us to change based on other people's perspective, because that's part of our human nature. And it's really hard for us to sit here and speak correctly to ourselves enough to change. But there's a cost that comes with this. There's a cost of adapting your mind and the way you think that we don't really speak on. It's going to make you respond differently to certain things. And what I mean by that is that when you change how you think, when you change what you're doing, when you're changing the life you're living, the mental cost that comes with this is tiring. It's very taxing. And it's okay for that. This is where balance kicks in to be a reality, because there are certain seasons that we feel like we have to work extra hard. But if we don't balance that off with seasons where we are able to not stop working, but allow ourselves the space to grow, and allow ourselves the space to just rest and be at peace, all we'll do is create this imbalance that will drain us completely. And this is why there's so many people who might seem like they have everything in the world but hate themselves. This is why the suicide rates are so high, especially within the extremely wealthy, because there is no counterweight to that. So this is when we talk about the balance of this, right? I mean, I mentioned it before, but just a little bit more in detail, that you don't stop working, you don't stop creating, you don't stop growing, but you do allow yourself space to just disconnect from certain things in different ways. Obviously, these seasons should not be prolonged, because this then becomes a lifestyle, but there should be seasons and times where you just allow yourself the rest. You don't have to have everything figured out every day. Again, people are terrified for success because they think that every single day of their lives needs to be this super home run, the super success, everything has it doesn't. It's okay for you to have moments where you're failing. It's okay for you to have moments where you fall. It's okay for you to have moments where things just don't make any sense. But it's not okay for you to remain in those moments. It's not okay for you to unpack and say, this is who I am and this is the life I live and that's it. That's not okay. The difference between a person who is successful, who has that kind of mindset, is that they're very aware of that. They are very aware that they will fail. They are very aware that they are human. They are very aware that they will make mistakes, but they don't stay in those things. They don't let their lives be dictated by their failings. You shouldn't allow your life to be dictated by your past, by your failings, by your mistakes. The failures and failings that you will have in this season, this next season, next month, next week, next year, whatever it is, you will have them. But the difference will come when you choose to not remain in them. When you choose to say, okay, this is another stumbling block, let's get up and let's keep working. As we talk about success, and I mention this often, and I just want to reiterate this point, that success will always be faced with envy. It will always be faced with aggression. It will always be faced with things that you have illuminated in other people that they have not done themselves. And the better you become, the more you grow, the more successful you become, this is something that you will have to deal with more often. And I always equate this with like trolls in my comment sections. This is one of the greatest lessons I've learned from social media. I could have the most positive message in the world. I could have the best thing to ever say, and so many people will receive. I've seen comment sections of some of my videos that were a little more viral, where you'll have like hundreds and if not thousands of like amazing comments of people receiving such amazing things, but there's always those one or two or three trolls, people that have nothing better to do than just make you attempt to try to make you upset, because again, they're hurt and their woundedness can only be reflected through these things. And again, especially like places like social media and just the internet in general, this is a very easy place for people who have nothing better to do to come and try to rob you of your peace. And I've learned that I made it a mission to not respond to those comments, to just not engage. Why? Because that's all they want. They just want someone, and this is going to get a little deep here. So I want you to realize this. This does not justify what they're saying or what they're doing. It does not dismiss the fact that they said this to you or did this to you. But there are some people in your life that will say things to you simply because they want some form of attention. And that attention is soothing a wound. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's negative attention that they want. They might just want to be loved. But the only way they can respond is through the hurt. So that wound is an easy emotion for them to access. So what they do is that they hurt you in that transmission of it. They try to get you to say or do something that is just a response. They just want something, an emotional response. So it's easier to start an argument. It's easier to fight with somebody. It's easier to say something negative about them than it is to say something positive, because they think you're not going to get your attention. Now, that's obviously an Instagram post, an Instagram comment. It's a little deeper if it's someone we know personally. But it doesn't justify it. It doesn't mean that it's okay. It just means that we understand. And when we understand, we don't respond the same. When you understand where the wound comes from, when you understand where the hurt comes from, when you understand where this person is struggling, you don't respond to them in that same breath. So as you become more successful, and a lot of people are afraid of this becomes part of their mountain, that they're afraid of criticism. They're afraid of being talked about. They're afraid of being ridiculed. They're afraid of being hurt by people's words and actions and their distance. But I need you to understand that no one above you will ever criticize you. Like, people only punch from the bottom up. They never punch from the top down. It's always successful people, good people, healthy people will always care about you and your growth, because they know this struggle. As you become more successful, you appreciate the efforts of other people so much more. Another example, I always say is my car, right? I mean, I have another car now that I love dearly too, but whenever I had my car, I was so happy for other people's cars. Like, I would look at other people's cars and say, man, that car is fire. Man, that's dope. Wow, they fit in that car. That looks like them. Because I was so successful, so happy about my thing, that my joy transmuted to their things. I was happy for them. I'm happy for them. Still to this day, I'm very happy for people and their successes. I'm so happy when people step into what they were made for and live that out. Because I'm not envious of anyone. I'm so firm in me that I can celebrate other people. People who are envious of you will look at your successes and try to criticize you. They'll try to bash you. They'll try to destroy you. Why? Because it hurts them to see you happy. When people are wounded, they do not want to see other people happy. That's like someone that had just got out of a bad relationship. They don't want to see happy relationships. They don't want to see marriages. Why? Because it reminds them of their pain. And that's just common sense. Like, just think about it. If it reminded me of something that hurt me, I don't want to see that for you. And it's okay to love people in that. You have to realize that some people will criticize you just to criticize you because you haven't done anything to them, but because they feel that way. Just because it's their own woundedness, their own envy, and their own hate. We have to continue to press in even when that happens. And even more importantly, we have to be joyful. Like, we have to be joyful for other people's successes despite our failures. Because the more you can celebrate other people, the easier it is for you to celebrate you. The easier it is for you to live in what you're meant for. And at the end of it, success becomes terrifying to a lot of us because it doesn't allow us the room to hide. Like, it's hard for you. You can grow and grind and become slightly successful and quiet and all these things. But the more successful you become, the more public people see that. Even if it's just a small thing, maybe something that you're growing in your own life. Even if your success looks like just you being able to be more consistent in the gym. I'm trying to be, that's my next one. We're working on that. I told that already. We're working on it. But Even if that's your little success and no one else sees that, eventually people will see the byproduct of it. They'll see what you look like, your physique, and all these things. That it brings you into a point where people will have something to say because they'll see something. It's obvious, right? They're going to see this progress and change in you, and this is going to be something that's going to bring you out to it. So a lot of people become terrified of their success because they don't want people to see them. They don't want to be in that limelight, and that's okay. I mean, I get it. I understand that we don't want these things, but I need you to reshape what that looks like. If your fear of success becomes the criticism of the public, if your fear of success becomes being seen or being held under a microscope, I need you to understand that one, you will motivate other people. You'll motivate the people around you to be better. And that should be our first goal, is to just be better for us so that other people around us can be better too. Like, first of all, us, right? But then them too. They magnify towards that. And two, to just be honest. Like, there is no one that's perfect. Not a single person. And if you were able to do this and your imperfection, then what's to say that anyone else can? You become a beacon of positivity to those people. You are capable of everything that you desire to do. You have this gifting and this ability. It's already imprinted in you. It's not about can you, it's about will you. So as we just wrap this episode up, the question remains that what will you do? And that phrase that I've been living my life by, that I've mentioned before, I can, I will, I must. So what is it that you can? What is it that you will? And what is it that you must do for life to be successful? So thank you so much for being a part of this episode. And I guess just a quick tidbit as we wrap up this last episode. I don't know how successful my podcast will be. This is a perfect episode to just mention this. But my only concern has always been how we reach other people, how we grow with other people, how we help other people move and change. And I realized that the only way I can ever actually magnify that myself on this podcast is with you, right? You that are listening, you that made it this far. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody, but shout out to you because they won't hear this if they're not here. But sharing and liking and the whole 5-star thing helps us actually reach these people. And I've never asked for this, and I mean, I've mentioned it before, but I've become more prevalent as to how important it is because it's never been a thought for me. And so I'm living my own words, right? I'm being bold and vocal about the things that I desire and want to grow. And if not, it is what it is. I have already, in my measurement of success, I've already been successful in that. And if it doesn't happen, again, we have plenty of time before we even know anything like that, but I'm just me, thinking ahead. If that doesn't happen, this already did. So the next season of whatever's next will be amazing. So thank you for being here, for being so supportive. And actually, the next episode that you hear will be with a special person. We'll just leave it at that. That's as a popular comedian in the New York area. And I won't give too much about that, but I'm excited to hear other people's stories. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this episode, and we'll catch you in the next one.